Hello, my name is BeterBan, and this is my Titan Souls normal all bosses tutorial. For this tutorial, we're going to be covering the intro, and I'd recommend that you guys follow my methods for killing the bosses, my pathing, and that's pretty much it, what I'd recommend for you guys to take from this tutorial. So once you spawn in, you're going to want to roll up straight 3 times, and once you roll up straight 3 times, we're going to take a quick shot at the orb, pull back our arrow, and roll diagonal about twice. And once we get to this point, we're going to get up the stairs, and from this point, we're going to take a quick shot at the door. The reason we're going to want to be at this point specifically is because we can get the earliest angle on this door so we can get it open as soon as possible. This saves a little bit of time since we do have to wait for the door anyways. So, once we get to this point, we're going to kind of want to hug this wall all the way through. Then we're going to come past it just a little bit so we can get a clean shot straight up at the door there. If you guys didn't notice already, we do have our controller displayed in the bottom right so you guys can see the exact inputs I'm doing, and I'd recommend that you guys do kind of something similar to what I'm doing. So from here we're going to hit this checkpoint, and then once we hit the checkpoint we can roll up one more time and take a quick shot there. Once we pick back up our arrow, we're going to take a quick right over here so we can get an early open on Brain Freeze door. The reason we do this is because when we originally hit Schleimheit's door, it's still opening, so might as well take that little bit of time we have to take a quick right and open up Brain Freeze's door. To note about this is that you do enter Schleimheit's door about 3 seconds slower, but we do make up for the time later on during the intro, so it's not a big deal, and you end up finishing the intro about the same time. So once you enter through Sludge Heart door, we're gonna use our right analog stick and we're gonna shove it straight up so we can pan our camera a little up. The reason we do this is so once we roll through we could see exactly where Sludge Heart has spawned, so we can get a setup for killing him as soon as possible since this boss does spawn in random spots. I'd recommend for this boss fight too that you let him bounce once every time you split him. This can speed up the boss fight quite a bit and you get a lot better at killing Sludge Heart this way. So I will try to show you guys what I'm doing right here. There's also other things you could do during this boss fight that about every time you split him you can either walk a little back just to kind of manipulate where he's going to jump. So now that we've killed Sludge Heart, we can start rolling straight down. Also, when you pull out his soul, if you time your rolls correctly, you can roll twice down towards the door, and this gets you closer to the door so you can exit this boss fight as soon as possible. Now that we've pulled the soul, we're going to hold our D-pad straight down so we can just roll straight down. Okay, now that we're exiting Sludge Heart's arena, we can take a left and we can go toward the I-Cube. Once we get to this point here, we can start aiming at I-Cube door and get this door open. You do not have to retrieve your arrow, but you can if you want. So now that we're in the I-Cube arena, we're just gonna stay where we are. So for killing this boss, we do a pullback kill. So once we shoot him, aggro him, we just leave our arrow there, and then once he starts rolling, we pull back our arrow to get the kill on him. So the time you're going to want to pull back the arrow is about once he starts leaving this block here. So once he starts rolling off this block, that's when you're going to want to pull back your arrow. So let me just show you guys real quick here. Oh, also another note is that the percent charge shot you're going to want is about a 75% charge shot at this guy. So I'll just show you guys here real quick. We're going to take our 75% charge shot, walk forward a little bit at the end of this block here. So notice that once I shot the arrow, I walked up to the edge of this block so I can be closer to him when I pull back the soul. This can save a little bit of time. So we're just going to pull back the soul and we're going to walk backwards towards this wall here. The reason we're going to want to be towards this wall is so we can exit the boss arena as soon as possible. So once we get through exiting this boss arena, we're going to take a slight diagonal roll right so we can get onto the staircase here, walk forward up. Once we're at this point, I recommend that you guys just shoot him from about here So you're going to use your D-pad to aim straight up, hit him from here, and then once you do that, you don't have to pull back the arrow since the your arrow will spawn back in your pouch once you get through the boss door. We're just going to get into brain freeze. From here, we're just going to stand exactly where we enter through. So once you get in, you don't want to move at all, and you're going to take a straight up shot, pull back, and diagonal roll, run around, get the fire. For this, before he slaps the ground, what I'd recommend you do is you stand a little bit before the shadow so you can be as close as possible to him once he lands. The reason you want to do this is because the closer you are to the Titan, the faster you pull out the soul. So we're just going to pull out the soul here, and we're going to go straight down. Once we've gone straight down, we're going to take a slight diagonal left roll towards the staircase so we can get to the staircase as soon as possible. Okay, now we're going to exit the door, and like I said, we're going to roll a little diagonal left. Okay, now we're going to run up the staircase. Okay, before we start Goliath, we're going to talk about a strategy here that is very fast for doing this boss, and one that I highly recommend you practice and that you try to get every single run you do. And it's called a 2-cycle Goliath, and I'll just kind of show you guys what I'm talking about. So what I recommend for this boss is that you kind of run up, and about right here is where you're going to want to be standing when you start the boss fight. So you're just going to I recommend taking a full charge shot, and once you get your arrow fully charged, you're going to shoot, roll back instantly, and start pulling back your arrow as soon as possible. You want to leave about that spot, and you're going to want to roll as fast as possible here. And we didn't get the 2 cycles since I was explaining that. That's the more common thing that happens, is people will get a 3 cycle if they're not fast enough. But if you are fast enough, you can only get them to 2 cycle. And I'll show you guys a 2 cycle here real quick. So I'm just gonna run back up to the Goliath boss fight here real quick, and I'll just show you guys what I like to do during my speed runs real quick. So we're gonna walk about to this point, take full charge shot, roll straight back, pull our arrow back to about the middle of that box there. Then we're gonna try rolling as fast as possible over here, and we're gonna pull back the arrow. So I'll explain how this boss works real quick. Is that there's kind of like a middle line here that kind of determine which fist is going to be hitting the ground. So about here, it's right in the middle of the boss. There's like this middle line that decides which fist he's going to use. And I'd recommend, once you kind of roll through here, as soon as you can, you're going to want to come up to this staircase on the right side of him and pull back instantly. Once you kill him, you pull the Titan Soul as fast as you can. Start running up the stairs, and as soon as you get up to the top of the stairs, you're going to roll once. And this allows you to open up this door as soon as possible. And this is really, really important. If you miss this, your run's pretty dead because it loses quite a bit of time, and it's not worth continuing the run if you lose that much time to this. I'd rather just restart than having to wait for that door. It's really important that you get that door open early. And you just kind of go through, and we're gonna roll straight up. We're gonna use our D-pad to keep ourselves straight, and we're just gonna roll through, time our rolls correctly, and we're gonna hit the elevator button here. And from here on, we're going to get to the forest, and I'll show you guys what to do once we're in the forest. From here, we're just gonna roll, just kind of follow my path here. It's really important that you follow my path since it is a very efficient way. Okay, before we get to this next part, there's a couple ways that people like to path to the forest. The most common way I see is people like to run around this tree and roll, but actually it is a lot faster to roll like that and then roll around like that. It's a lot faster. It is a bit riskier since you're at risk of bonking up against like the tree here or against that wall. And if you don't feel like rolling, it is still faster just to run through without rolling. So that's just my recommendation for that. From here, we're just going to stay here. We're going to enter just like so. that's going to do it for this part of the tutorial, and we will cover the forest in part 2 of 100% normal Titan Souls speedrunning. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment below, and I will try to answer as soon as I can. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next time.